Before the passing of the sovereignty bill, ODONGA came out to do some argument, saying that if he was a radical opposition politician, he would allow the sovereignty bill to be passed so that it can act as a catalyst to overthrow the government. And for me, I saw it in a different way. ODONGA said this statement.
If I were a hardcore member of opposition, I would be encouraging the government to pass this law, because this is the law that would make this government come down on its knees. Because there are some people who are surviving on money on international remittances. There are people who have nothing to do with government. They just use government roads and avoid police stations. Their uncle sends $2,000 every month from New York, and they buy food, they buy matoke, you know. So the moment this law passes and we cannot receive money from Canada, from America, from Britain, and the government cannot provide for the citizens, these are the very people who will be hungry and walk to the streets. Because if I have nothing to eat, there are some people who are hangers on around the president. They are connected to the president by reasons of consanguinity and friendship.
That is ODONGA OTTO. First of all, coming out to say that any bad law, the government, the opposition should cheer on every bad law to be passed by the regime because it will have a ripple effect on the people, is not true. Some of the laws are passed and they wait for the opposition politician to do or to perform a certain act so that they can be invoked. I'm telling you, even if the sovereignty bill was passed as the first batch looked like, it would only work on the opposition politicians. I'm going to give you an example. Do you know that under our constitution, making a parade is criminal? A parade is criminal. But we've seen people making parades without anything being invoked until the NUP did the same thing, and all of a sudden it was invoked. And to make it matters worse, even the parade that was done by the NUP, it wasn't a military parade. It was not near a military parade because the constitution will stipulates on how a parade is made. Okay, military actions are done in parade. What was done in NUP, it was not even near a parade, but they were incriminated. So the opposition sharing on bad laws, thinking that it would capture others. No, such laws are tailored specifically for the opposition. It is the truth. So there is no any person who can come out to say that any bad law that's brought by government should be cheered on because those laws are tailored for the opposition. Secondly, what I agreed with ODONGA OTTO, he came out to say that some things happen because General Museveni's tenacity to his government is reducing. He's now 82 years. Okay, and by the time, for as long as he stays in power, is going to degenerate in capacity, in the mental capacity and the physical capacity. It is just a natural way. ODONGA OTTO said these statements.
They look for what is happening in government, then they add theirs. So this bill, what the president intended, is now not what is before the committee. This is treason. Someone added their things into the bill. So we have those who are well off. They are well positioned in this government. They are very rich. They own houses in Kololo. They own apartments in Naguru. They understand how the state works. And then they put their things. So someone should be held accountable. That why is it that the original bill, the president was saying, who is touching religious institutions? How did it smuggle itself in the bill? We have situations where people are appointed ministers or RDCs. At the time of typing, some people get out of the list. When the president has already given a list that type, then they just smuggle and put Kwezira. And the president at 82 years old, you have 200 letters to sign on behalf of the state. He signs, then later they hear, hey, Kanari is a resident district commissioner. Who made him? So we have situations where even the president doesn't know. I stated last week, and I want to state now, Honorable Kwezira, Sovereignty is not ODONGA OTTO, an international sports lawyer based in Madrid, bringing $1 million and going to report to RDC that I brought the money. No. Sovereignty bill should cater for ministers taking Uganda's money and owning properties in London. Yes. I know ministers with property in London. I know ministers with properties in the US. They take our money and they go and build in the US. The sovereignty law should cater for that, not money coming in. Dollars is a very scarce thing. If I can bring dollars here and I'm not going to kill anyone, I'm not interested in politics, I'm just bringing the money here home. The home where the imperialists were taking slaves, they were taking ivories, they were taking what? If I can reverse that trend using my own magazine, it should not be a problem to Uganda government.
Okay.
I've seen people engaging me online that it causes inflation. No, I did economics at university. Bringing dollars here cannot cause inflation because the dollar would become money and the rate of the dollar against the shilling would drop. So those who are bringing dollars here, as long as it is not for terrorism, should even be given medals.
That is ODONGA. And for me, I feel bad. If you compare the General Museveni of 20 years ago, who would give speeches while standing down, nowadays he has to sit down with a cup of tea, with a cup of water. He speaks slowly. The agility is reducing. And remember, the whole state of the NRM government was built again around a single man. We don't have institutions. Everything is decided in state house. And that is the problem of having a person who wants to control power. Sometimes they compare all leaders across the country, like Donald Trump, who is also approaching 80, etc., like Joe Biden, who was also approaching 80. But those countries have institutions. Not everything is done by the president. Here in Uganda, even if traders in Kampala, or Chikuvo, or Guru, or Kumi want something to be done, they will just walk to State House. Everything is done around a one man. And the more he becomes frail, because now he's an octogenarian, 82 years, you are going to see things, bad things glaring in the regime. It's the reason why he no longer bites. Even a dog, when it gets old, sometimes it cannot even chew a meat. So part of it, I would want to agree with ODONGA. By the way, ODONGA is one of the finest legislators and debater. I felt bad that he didn't come back to parliament. I agree with that the more General Museveni stays in power, is the more we are going to see even worse things in the NRM government. Of course, this is my opinion. Is truly Mr. Makindi Kabesula Emmanuel Morgan. If you're into this channel, please subscribe, like, and comment so that I'm motivated to do more of such videos. I'll see you on another one. Peace.